Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the moon on the nearest star recording right here is just showing you this right here because looking at a few pictures of course I had taken of course the moon. It was like about 2 or 3 days ago that I took a picture of the moon and of course gotten some ideas of knowing about it. It's like anybody would probably think about whenever they're zooming in, zooming out, of course on their camera it is. And of course if you have like what you call like the high focus, ISO on the camera it is knowing about the type of pictures of course that you're able to get it is, but just knowing about that with the moon though that anybody would probably thinking about that yeah, whenever you're getting pictures of it, and sometimes with me that sometimes that it's if it's not like what you call it's like a super moon, and sometimes it's hard to see and you want to zoom in and then zoom out, and then a lot of times it's like trying to get to say a clear distance say of the moon it is. And anybody could probably think about if you were to like what you call like maybe do some studies of course about the moon, and like I may have mentioned before, it's like talk about a moon that you can take home with you it is. But anyway, that you have right here is the moon, and then I'm going to be using a variety of colors here. You see, for the crazy art, you got the crazy art crayons, and of course, the different color crayons it is. But basically, you're trying to go into details, of course, about is like with the moon. And the way I went ahead and drew the moon in some ways was shown is that you have right here is the moon right here, and add a little bit of detail right here. It's like you got right here is the blue. And if any of us have seen some artistic talents of course into the moon it is, it's like go ahead and talking about anybody probably thinking about with like the school project it is, if it's to say is for talents, it's like it's talking about with the type of study, I guess you say is for study skills. And knowing about anybody will probably thinking about that do your homework a lot of times that you talk about, it's like that they give you like what you call is like they want you to do a paper, and sometimes they want you to include maybe a few words such as it's like talking about it's like from planets. It's like if you have planet right here for for planets. But other than that, they would give you like a line, a few lines right here. It's like talking about give you a form you write in a few sentences it is. But I remember that whenever of course whenever I was in the second and third grade it was is that they would a lot of times that they would give you papers like that to where you write in between. It's like the lines for lowercase and uppercase letters like I may have mentioned before it is. But other than that, like talking about the drawing and the details right here is with the moon. And whenever I was in school, of course, I can remember that not all the time, maybe every once in a while, that they would let you draw a picture of about the study, about what you were talking about, such as the study, of course, about the moon. And anybody would probably think about if you were to zoom in on the moon, a lot of times it looked like that there was like a face, like a face that will be forming and that will be visible, you say. It's like the moon, it's like people are thinking about what kind of face, but kind of like a face. A couple times whenever I seen the moon that they look like to do is like a face on there. And then from there, and then it was like you got right there is the face, and of course go ahead and color it a little bit of brown right here. It's like with the moon, and anybody will probably think about whenever you zoom in on the moon that a lot of times that what types of colors you usually see whenever you're looking at the moon. And quite a few times I remember seeing it's like we say a blue type color. A lot of times it was a blue, like if most of us have seen it's like posting blue moon star night sky it is. But talk about like for the moon, the moon of the nearest star it is, it's like talking about really that whenever you look at the I go outside it is, and knowing about that you don't see very many stars, of course, maybe from your distance. I know around here anybody probably thinking about maybe you just gotta look at the in the right direction it is if it's at north or north, east or west or something like that where you gotta look. And anybody probably think about, if you want to pick a star in random, let's just say that, I can go ahead and use, anybody probably thinking about it, really any color, but, a type of color right here. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is, of course, put a little blend, of course, of black, about right here, just to kind of give it, it's like, say, if it was like what you call like a space, like knowing about the types of stars, a lot of times that more likely that would be visible at nighttime. It was anybody who probably thinking about that type of artwork it is knowing about the types of details that you put in there, knowing about that for how you draw it out, and then knowing about that it's quite hard. Anybody probably think about it, it is kind of hard, just to know about it, especially if it's all a matter of good talent. It is knowing about, what you want to do is, whatever that comes to your mind, it is to try to draw it out for whatever you can picture in your mind, it is. But right here is, go ahead and use the purple right here, but just like if the moon were right here, it's like if space would be at about right here, it's like have it to where that you got the star right there, and then from there, and then it goes by, it's like you got the purple right there, and then from there, and see here, go ahead and add a little bit of orange with that. But anybody probably think about that, and then I'll go ahead and really a little bit harder to see now, but like this, like I'm talking about, it's like it's like if you were to try to draw something like this, say out of crayons, it's like talking about that really. It's like nothing that you would normally see, like through a telescope. It is, but on the other hand, too, that knowing about that, anybody would probably think about, well, looks like a meteoroid, like it looks like a meteor. But I remember whenever I was working on Microsoft Paint, a lot of times it was like that, trying to make things realistic. It was, and that knowing about sometimes that was quite hard to do, and knowing about right there is like with the star, and anybody will probably thinking about. Like go ahead and add some color, add a little bit of pink red, right there. It's like you got there is the gold. So you get the cost is the gold right there. And anybody go ahead and add a little bit of gold right here on the star right here. It's like if that was a star. But anyway, that so far no meteor shower. But other than that, go ahead and add a little bit of red right here for the moon. But whenever I was looking at the moon a couple of times, like talking about, I got a few pictures of it, and then I noticed about whenever you zoom in and zoom out, it is talk about they change the color by the light. It is, and anybody will probably thinking about whenever you look at the moon that they ask you like do planets shine with their own light, or do they get most of it from the sun? It is, and of course heard quite a bit of it is from the sun. But I keep thinking about that with the planets, it is like with the planets that you probably thinking about that with most planets it is that if they were to get their light, of course, from the sun, it is knowing about that from how Earth orbits from the sun, and more likely if I think about that if it were dark in some areas and some areas it will be light, and then knowing about how they shine with their own light. If the moon is with if the sun is within a certain distance, but they probably think about orbits, and we probably thinking about that really about how far is the moon, of course, from Disneyland or something like that. But anyway, that you have right here is the moon, and I would think about anybody would probably thinking about if you wanted me to add some details like for what you think that more likely that maybe later on what they will be able to find on the moon, such as water, or if it's like any type of curious, say, rock. It is. But other than see right here is you got right here is the moon, and and then from there, and then go ahead and add a little bit of black. And then after that, and then of course go ahead and add is the blue. But it's like from the photos, and then of course it's like right there. It's like talk about it's like the study skills. It is talking about the type of moon. It's like out of your own words about like what you says, like out of your own words, what would you think you want to say about, of course, about the moon? It is about this picture right here. And I know everybody will probably think about, well, it's a moon. It orbits, or say maybe orbits around the sun. Anybody probably thinking about that? Talking about that. Well, it's the moon, and that I know of that they haven't found really anything too much interesting on there. And knowing about it's like who was, what year did Neil Armstrong or something like that discover? It's like take the trip to the moon. It is, and like talk about trivia question.